Hey everyone, Casual Console Gamer here with another review. Chants of Sennaar was released in 2023, developed by Rundisk and published by Focus Entertainment. It has recently been added to the Xbox Game Pass, which is where I played it on the Xbox Series X. If you don't have Game Pass, you can pick it up on the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 5, and it's also on Steam. Currently it's priced at $20 US, but it does go on sale occasionally. So today we're going to answer the question, is it worth playing? Here's my Too Long Didn't Watch, where I give an overview of my thoughts and opinions on the game and answer that question. Yes, Chants of Sennaar is worth playing for anyone who enjoys unique puzzle games. It has a distinctive art style, interesting and challenging puzzles, and a decent runtime of about 9 to 10 hours. I would play it through the Xbox Game Pass, and I would rate it an 8 out of 10. Let's start the review off like we always do, with the graphics and technical. Chants of Sennaar is an indie game, but that doesn't mean it lacks polish. It ran flawlessly on my Xbox Series X with no frame drops or crashes. This game doesn't have graphics so much as an art style. The game is made up of a series of floors of a tower, each distinct to each other in architecture, color, and environment. The characters change as well, each visually diverse. There isn't much to say about the visuals, just watch these clips and you can see for yourself. Also, if you aren't feeling the hatching or the lines that run through everything, there is an option to reduce them. The story of Chants of Sennaar is simple. You wake up in a strange place with no memory of who you are or what you're doing. As you travel, you meet new groups of people that each speak a new language that you don't understand. It's up to the player to use context, hints, and repetition of symbols to learn a language, making notes in your notebook to figure out what the symbols mean. After experiencing a language for a while, your character will draw pictures in their notebook and you have to match the symbol to the picture to reveal their true meaning. The game takes place in a mysterious tower that some race built. Groups of people arrived at the tower and took up residence in certain sections, but refused to communicate or allow travel between them. You start with the devotees, religious people who are seeking God and think that their deity is at the top of the tower. They have their own language, and once you figure it out, you need to sneak past locked gates that are preventing the devotees from reaching the next floor. The warriors are the next group. They're religious fanatics who are obsessed with keeping the impure out of the tower. They're the ones that lock the doors and prevented the devotees from reaching the next floor. They have armor and weapons, and your character needs to do a lot of sneaking to first infiltrate their fortress. The warriors are prevented from going to the next level by other warriors who are waiting for the bards, or the chosen ones, to play for them. Next to the bards are the chosen ones, who lead a hedonistic lifestyle and play music. They have another cast of people who are servants and do the menial labor for them. They are blocked from going forward by a monster that haunts the tunnels. Then there's the scientists, or the alchemists, who wear plague doctor uniforms and study alchemy formulas. They are assaulted by the monster, and only fire and light keeps it at bay. They can't go forward up the tower because a door blocks them that won't open without a certain type of key, and that key requires a specific mix of metals in an alchemy formula to make. Finally, you reach the last group, the exiles. They built the tower and are super advanced, but they are terrified of each of the other groups, so they sealed themselves off and they just spend their days hooked up to a VR set. You can see where the story is going without too many spoilers. It's up to the player who learned these languages to bring them together. So what are you doing in Chants of Sennaar? Well, you're basically going to be exploring each floor, looking for clues to unlock the meaning of symbols, and learning the language of the residents. There are also a lot of puzzles to solve, most requiring you to understand the language before you can complete them. It's really interesting, and the language have a logic to them. Once you recognize a pattern, you can basically write sentences that characters can understand using the in-game symbols. But the game can also be hard, especially if you aren't very good with thinking about word order. Here's an example of what I mean by that. In English, I'll say something like, I went to the park. But in Chants of Sennaar, you don't have that many symbols, so you may say, me go park. But then, some of the language have a different word order. So instead, you may say, park go me. It takes some getting used to, and even by the end of the game, I was stumped a bunch of times. What makes it harder is some of the language doesn't have plurals. What do I mean by that? Well, if you want to say a group of people, you need to double up on the symbol meaning person. Or you may need to add a specific symbol that changes a singular into a plural. It can be complicated at times, but Chants of Sennaar does a good job at easing you into it. But there is definitely a learning curve, and by the time you reach the scientists and the exiles, the game kicks it into high gear and the difficulty really ramps up. You will need to demonstrate that not only do you understand what these symbols mean, but you have a grasp of the language and how to construct simple sentences. Aside from the language pieces, there are a bunch of puzzles. Pushing carts to reach a certain object, turning pillows around to line them up correctly, finding secrets to understand the order that objects need to be touched. A lot of them don't really need the language to learn it, but the hints on how to complete them are there if you understand the symbols. And then finally, there's stealth. Chants of Sennaar has sections where you need to sneak past guards, and if you're caught, you just restart the screen again. If you don't like stealth, it's not too onerous, although there were a few times that I wish they had cut the stealth sections down a little bit. That's pretty much it. Explore the floors, look for hints and clues to understand the language, and try to reach the next floor. Chants of Sennaar was a fun game to play, and clocking in at only 9 or 10 hours, it's easy to complete. With the exception of some frustrating and obtuse puzzles near the end of the game, I found learning the languages to be really great, although I wish there was more to it in the end, especially when you reach the Exiles. I always suggest you play it through Game Pass, where it is right now, and I would rate Chants of Sennaar a 8 out of 10. As always, thanks for watching, and make sure to like my videos and subscribe for more content. Leave a comment below if you played Chants of Sennaar and what you thought of it.